So, hello everybody. How awesome is this that we have a beautiful day and I'm together with Brandon Young. I'm already excited for this moment, Brandon. We have to say that because today we're going to talk about $1 Million Playbook. What a message. I was thinking about it when creating the title, like what are we going to do? But I know for a fact that we're going to dive into the details about consumer insights and actual results and like competitor insights with data dive and everything. Then we will get there. So I'm really excited. Hey, how are you doing? You
Good.
just
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I think, you have to cross that line where you want the title to be sexy enough to where people want to tune in, right? But you still don't want to oversell it and you want to make sure you're adding a ton of value. Obviously, what we're going to teach is extremely important for running a business. And it's the same thing that you have to repeat over and over and over again as you develop more products. And it's the same thing that all the large sellers that I know are good at, right? So
exactly.
all of the million, seven figure, eight figure sellers that I know, they know how to do this at a very high level. And so the seven figure playbook, $1 million seller playbook, whatever you want to call it, right? I thought the name was fine.
No, I like it too. So that's why we chose it also. And it will be probably one of those a few more videos that we're going to do together. By the way, just some practical stuff. It's 30 minutes. If you have some questions, you can drop them in the chat or in the questions down below. We will address them in the, let's say, final 5 or 10 minutes. But just to kick off, the thing is that I see many times is like people are, well, they want to know like what's generating a click. And of course, we have Intellivy, so we can do a simulated poll in a simulated marketplace. So you can get your product up against relevant competitors. But that's it. What is a relevant competitor? And also, if you're choosing competitors besides, let's say, well, if I speak about relevant, let's say material preferences, or let's say size, or let's say maybe package deals, whatever. So each time it's always like a struggle, like how to pinpoint your offer up against relevant competitors. And at the same time, the simulation of the journey. And I'm thinking, by the way, about a comment you did recently. I have to speak that a seventh grader is understanding it. So please, if you can give some feedback on that, then do it. But the point is that simulating the journey, you also have to understand the starting point of the consumer. What is the problem they have in mind? So that they will end up in the correct solution and find the product that they will buy. And it has to be yours. So that's where we help. So
Yeah. And I think what I'll do is I'll dumb it down for the rest of us whenever you
please.
say something because I think at the end of the day, if you don't know what your customer truly wants, you're not going to be able to build a product that's successful. So what we're trying to figure out are what are the features and benefits that the typical buyer, known in marketing as the avatar, what are they most interested in? What are the pain points that they're trying to solve? And then how do we build that into the product, but not just the product, into the messaging that our content portrays, right? So a lot of what you do at Intellivy is help us to restructure our images and our content so that we can easily show the consumer that we are solving their problem that they have or checking the box for the feature that they're looking for, right? But if
Exactly.
we didn't know that they wanted that feature, if we didn't know that they had that concern or that pain point, we wouldn't even know to build that in to the way we write our listing or the way that we design our content.
No, exactly. But what I also want to say is this, like, so I see so many times doing A/B tests, and it's just like having a supplement and then add another supplement bottle next to it, and then show, let's say, an example where you more present the flavor, something like that. But then you have bias because I get it. If you just do a test, everybody will say, I just love the better presentation, but it's not a design contest. So what I try to bring across is like if you're entering the marketplace and you want to test your product up against competitors, you need to understand your digital shelf. So I think that's where you come into play with data dive. And I also, maybe you can show something or whatever, but tell me more about it. Like, how does it work? Because even I have a challenge with that.
Yeah, so I think that I know that I've just gotten pretty good at being able to look at the competitors and understand what they're offering, what they're selling. And that's one thing, but to get the confirmation from a real poll, right, with you is more important, I think. So but I can. Do you have a product you want me to run? And then I can throw a you know, the I like the way you call it the digital shelf, but it's basically we call it a niche, a master keyword list. But being able to look at all the best sellers that show up typically on different search results. And what's interesting about that is if you think about it, a digital shelf would be like if you walk into one store, you look at one section. Amazon is infinite shelves, and every product can be on thousands of shelves. Like each shelf can be different because each shelf would be its own keyword, right? And so certain keywords are long tail and more specific. Certain keywords are going to be more generic. And it's like, okay, given the keyword or what that shelf is, how does your product fit into it? Can you
Yeah.
truly even put your product there, right? Is that a keyword that you can rank for?
Exactly.
Is it a keyword you should rely on to send traffic? Because it might be big, it might be 20, 40,000 searches a month, but the reality is it's pretty generic. And the best seller of that niche is already on there in number 12. And
Exactly.
no matter what you do, you're not going to supplant them until you take care of all the more specific keywords and you have a much higher conversion rate and you've established yourself, then you can start to go after some of that market share on those other shelves. So,
Exactly. So
or
yeah.
keywords.
So yeah, well, you're asking if I have a product. So let's see if I start with sharing my screen. Um, so within Intellivy, we offer marketplace simulation. So for instance, you are in the phase of growth hacking and you want to optimize your CDR because that's what we are talking about right now. So optimizing CDR. Then you can also see like who's winning clicks now. But if you get to the point like who's winning clicks now, you're placing your product up against relevant competitors, then that's kind of the issue I'm addressing right now that I want to talk about, how to get the correct competitors. Now, if I go to an example poll, so let's go to a marketplace poll that we did, then here you have coffee mugs. Now, as at the first start, I'm simulating a journey. So I'm saying here to 150 people, you are on the road a lot and you would like to take your coffee with you wherever you go. So now this is about a travel mug. But it doesn't necessarily mean that people are looking for a travel mug. Maybe they are looking for an insulated mug. And if you're looking for an insulated mug, it might be that people are maybe interested in lid types or design features or maybe size options or aesthetic choices. So that's exactly where I try to get to the point. Like now I'm doing one test. This is one presentation of a digital shelf, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if I'm winning in this shelf, I'm winning everywhere. I'm not. That's
That's
kind of what.
absolutely right. This is now this comes into advanced product development strategy.
Exactly.
What the clues that I'm looking for are going to be throughout the thousands of keywords. What are the repeated words or phrases, the roots we call them, for that describe more specifically the most desirable sizes, shapes, colors, quantities, whatever it is, and
Exactly.
designs. And I think a good example, if I pull it up, might be a coffee mug like that because you're going to have different ounce sizes and everything. But the more advanced strategy that we teach around product development and the importance of SEO will and profitability, in general on Amazon will be that you want to have multiple variations that satisfy each of those customers' needs. So you will have a certain number of people that are looking for pink, looking for mint, looking for black. That's one way. In your example with the coffee mug, you have a certain number of people that are going to be looking for maybe just a smaller size for like a coffee cup, an insulated coffee cup. So maybe that's 16 ounce or 12 ounce. And then you have 24 ounce and 36 ounce. You're going to have much larger. So once you identify the demand based on the keywords and based on what the competition is doing well and selling by looking at a general list, you can see how many units your competitors are moving of each variation. You can see what people are searching very specifically with long tail keywords and those roots. Then you need to offer a solution that has a lot of those on it because What you're trying to do is satisfy the need of the buyer to shop when they enter your listing. They come in through your hero listing, through your hero variation, your
Exactly.
hero style, through those generic keywords, and you're hoping that that casts the widest net and you get the most clicks. Generally, it's your cheapest one. Generally, it's going to be your most common color. Now, when they come in, you're going to want to have those bigger options. You're going to want to have those other color options so that they sell themselves on those on
Exactly.
your listing. What people don't understand is that psychologically, buyers have a need to shop. They don't want to be sold on the first item they see. They want to look around and browse. If
Exactly.
you give them a lot of options on your listing, then they're going to choose one of your products. If you only give them one or two options, they're going to leave your listing and go satisfy that need to shop somewhere else. But how do you choose the colors, the sizes, and the options on your listing
Exactly.
in order to increase that
Mm.
conversion rate?
I
And then,
do believe, however, if I may interrupt, I do believe that, of course, so this is kind of like next level, what you're saying. But I do believe that the option from others, so indeed, consumers want to buy, but they are in the process of information gathering. We spoke about this before. So I think although other options are out there, so those are your competitors, then still this applies because then, but you have to be the best one. So then you need to understand your position based on features, based on price, based on features, whatever. So you need to know your position.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And the last thing I'll say to that is like on the advanced strategy side, if you see the demand for those variations, those specific variations, you need to then write each variation listing differently and you need to market them differently to try to rank each of those for those sets of keywords so that you're showing up on those variation specific keywords. So when we see people searching for mint 16-ounce coffee cup 20 25 times a month, you should be number one there. And it
Yeah,
might actually be 100 or 200 times a month. But if you capture a meaningful share of that traffic and those conversions, those are, if someone searches for 16-ounce mint insulated coffee cup, right? And you have a 16-ounce mint insulated coffee cup as one of the first results because you've written it into your listing and you've got it right there for them, they are far more likely to convert than someone that just searched for insulated coffee cup and randomly selected yours out of the list of many options, right? Because that
mm,
person knew what they wanted and you gave them what they wanted. Now,
yeah,
as a blend, if you were able to do that with 20 variations across 600 long tail keywords across 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 searches a month, with all of those, the aggregate of all of that search volume from all those long tail keywords, now you have a much better chance of winning on those generic keywords like insulated coffee cup.
exactly. Yeah, I love this. I think it's a big challenge, by the way, to determine all the inventory levels that you need, and besides color, because
It's a very advanced, yeah,
you give a
100%.
very nice long tail example, and that's beautiful. I think everybody's dream to have it like that. Unfortunately, when they have a specific color option or ounces, then still, let's say the slink design, or it has to fit in a cup holder, or someone has in mind like, oh, but I drive a Tesla, it should fit like this, should not whatever rattle. I don't know. So there are so many more things that has to be addressed in your listing to understand like what is needed to do the sale.
Well, this is where we need to get the detail, right? We see the
Yeah,
keyword, but what do they really want? And then that's where we have to deal with your audience to really understand it, right? So we can form our hypothesis from the data, and we can even have AI give us some information based on the feedback and scanning the reviews of all the competitors. But we need to test that hypothesis through
Mhm.
Intellivy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's strange that. So that's exactly what I'm explaining. But the only issue that I face a lot is like how to get the digital shelf in the correct way. So that's exactly, well, again, if you can, how much time do you take for instance, if you were investing in development of a listing? So and how many polls do you run? How do you do it? Can you tell me a
So
little bit
yeah,
more about
it's
that?
at least 3 polls, I would say. So an initial poll to validate any hypothesis that we might have around how we're trying to make the product better, to test buyer sentiment, get some details, get some information. A drab study is perfect for that, right? Like, why wouldn't you want this feature?
Yeah,
Then we
like
go in and we start with some initial designs. So we'll do a quick and dirty design that you know, with Midjourney or with our designers, we try to match some main images. And then once we get that and we're satisfied, then we move on to a final pull where it looks like a search results page.
yeah, exactly.
So we
And
want to be able to compare our price point, like the reviews, whatever it is. So I just saw a poll today that we ran with Intellivy where we designed a toy for kids and our price point is a little bit higher. We're around $49. The best seller is $25, so like half the price. And their product is much smaller, much cheaper. And my hypothesis was that if I design something much more sturdy, much better design, much better quality, and more play options, that I would be able to still compete at that $50 price point because the value would be very apparent. We still lost the poll to the buyers because and the main reason given was price point, much more affordable. The value for price point seemed okay enough, and that's why they're the best seller. At the end of the day, it's value to dollars, right? Like, what is the perceived value for what I'm paying for? And if I've got a toy for a toddler that's 3, 4, 5 years old, you know, even 2, 3, 4 years old, right? That's going to use this thing. Do I need to pay $50 or is $25 with that cheaper option going to be okay? And it seems like most of the buyer sentiment is that they're okay with that cheaper
yeah,
looking option and that
exactly.
cheaper option.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of at a loss of what to do other than removing features, removing some of the things that we've done to reduce the price again, and see if I can compete at the $30 or $35 price point instead. But we haven't moved forward with ordering the
But you know
product
what?
yet.
This is so because I hope everybody can follow because now you are talking about price point, and this is already like a very specific approach of doing a test. So now we spoke about the digital shelf, we spoke about the relevancy of the competitors, and now we are talking about price points. So you first need to understand the value. You first need to understand the features that people want. What are their wants, needs, and desires? You mentioned drab poll. For someone who doesn't know, DRAP means dominant reasons that avoid buying. So that's a very specific poll giving you a top 10 list of objections. So you have so many insights. You mentioned free polls, by the way. Is that per variation? Is that what you do?
It wouldn't be per variation. I mean, we're mostly testing the hero. The variations we're going to use those other insights like that I was talking about. When it gets to more complicated things like the coffee mug example, where we can have sizes, whether it fits in a cup holder, whether it looks like a coffee mug, whether it's more of a long flask or whatever it is, you probably need more polls there, right? You're going to
Mm-hmm.
need to test multiple designs and really understand your audience at a higher level. Most of the time, for most products, you're going to know what the core product is, what the size options are, color options are, and they're going to be pretty standard. So the extreme example of the coffee mug versus, you know, a normal toy that a kid has,
Exactly.
it's not going to be as complicated.
No, that's true. That's true. So recently also I was with a baby sling, and then there are so many ways of wearing a baby sling that's also again like, okay, who's my main competitor? What am I going to do? And of
Right. That's
course, there might
extremely
be
complicated. Yeah,
exactly,
absolutely.
exactly. So that's really something that I like to take the moment for. Like, how can data dive help you with that? Because I know for a fact that it's beautiful. You can just uh, get the aces in a deep dive and just get a good overview of everything.
Yeah. So let me share. I'll do a quick dive real quick.
And I see, by the way,
So
one question from Aaron. Aaron, he's mentioning, can you show examples on the closet organizer you did?
oh yeah, the closet organizer that we're doing with ecom brand builders is great. I can do that as well. Let me run a coffee mug right here. So what I've done is I've searched for insulated coffee mug. And what we're going to do is have Data Dive go and find what it thinks are the most likely competitors with the best sales from different keywords and subcategories. So we've written an algorithm that we call the fit score. And then this fit score takes into consideration the subcategories of the bestseller that you selected. So you always need to start with a bestseller. And then you need to go and it looks at reads the title for keywords, and then it looks at the subcategories, and it comes and creates a curated list for you based on the score. Right now, I have it sorted by sales, right? So the Yeti is here. Now, the question is, do we want this 20-ounce Yeti tumbler to be as part of one of the ones that we want or not? And if we want to look at a general, we look at all these options. This is what we started with. This is now sorted by fit score. So it thinks that all of these are going to be much more likely. And the, Hydro Flask being the brand probably is why most of these were selected.
Is it also looking at because it has a handle? I see some with a handle, some without.
Yeah, so it would look at that as the part of the keywords. So I'm going to take off a few of these. Now I want to leave a general mix with and without handles, right? Let me sort by sales. So I take off, what I tend to do is I take off anything from the fit score that I don't think is relevant or that I don't want to compare. And then I come in and I add these best sellers. I'm actually going to leave this one back in here because it sells a ton. This is the best selling Hydro Flask right now. It has that loose handle there, the flex cap.
Yeah.
This one comes with a straw. We don't need two variations of that. I think we have two 32-ounce and 40-ounce. What's interesting is they want more real estate, so they've just taken all these.
We had at a certain point the idea to do a detachable handle based on the poll insights, because we had said like 50% of the people liked having it a handle, but the other one not. So we felt like, oh, well, maybe, but then that's like a unique feature. It's unique, right? So it's very, very complicated. Sometimes it's really complicated to test a unique something, a new product, even if it's higher price, because you give more value.
Yeah, you've got sterile issues there. You've got so many different things going on. Plus, it seems like a one-time use thing. If I don't want the handle, I just take it off and throw it away.
It's
one
gone.
time, right? So let's do insulated coffee mug. This is with lid. All right, we're going to do that. Let's dive. So now it's going to go in all of these competitors that we selected. It's going to find out what are all the keywords that they are indexed for.
Yeah.
So they could be on page 12, right? We're still going to find that keyword. Now, what's going to happen is once you aggregate that across those 20 competitors, you're going to end up with thousands, tens of thousands of keywords. 98% of those keywords are going to be trash. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of those keywords together into what we call a keyword cloud. If none of the competitors are on the first 2 pages of the keyword, we're going to put it in the trash bin. Then we break the rest of the keywords down into 3 groups, 3 different buckets. The first is your master keyword list. The master keyword list is going to be where you find all of the keywords that have at least 450 searches a month and at least 30% relevancy. These are going to be the keywords that drive the most sales for this niche. Then you're going to have something called the outlier keywords. The outlier keywords are going to be keywords where you have at least 2,000 searches a month, so they have significant search, but less than 30% relevancy. That means that not all of the competitors are taking advantage of that keyword. So the question would be, why are they not taking advantage of it? Generally, it's because it's either branded search. It has a brand name in it.
Yeah.
It could be a very generic keyword like coffee, right? Or coffee gifts for dads, right? Super, super generic.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a very wide range of results on that page. And only the best sellers that kind of wrote that into the listing or position themselves, and they have the best conversion usually, will find their way into that search result. It's not duplicatable, so we don't move it over to the master keyword list. But every once in a while, you're going to find keywords that are super relevant with a whole new route that only a few people figured out. And then you move those over to your master keyword list. Now, the last bucket is your residue keywords. These residue keywords are going to be super long tail keywords. These are going to be keywords that have, again, less than 30% relevancy or all the way down to 250 search volume.
Yeah.
So we go really, really deep there. And what we want to do is kind of figure out which of those keywords we want to move over as well into the master keyword list. So once we've removed all the keywords from the master keyword list that are not relevant, we cannot make sales from, and we've added the keywords, now we have a curated list of keywords here, and this is the master keyword list. But then we'll have a curated list of keywords for the master keyword list that we can use to go write the listing. So we've written an algorithm to write your listing mathematically to value which keywords you need to write there to maximize your ranks, to maximize your traffic and your rank potential. Because we know the way Amazon's algorithm works for ranking. It values match type. It values the way that you write, where you write the keyword. And so we basically wrote an algorithm and mathematically can help you write your listing to maximize your rank potential.
Yeah, it's so much. By the way, I already see that we run at the end of the webinar. So maybe let's extend it a bit if someone is in for that. I see a question,
Yeah.
by the way. How to go about testing something innovative, disruptive, plus premiumly priced against the bestsellers with great brand value on Intellivy?
Yeah, that
First
would be
thing,
for you.
yeah, of course, I know. But the first thing I think of is always like this. Amazon is a marketplace. It's still a marketplace where applies search, find, buy. So whatever happens, it starts with a search. And Brandon is now looking at a list of search terms, and it's aligning with this. So it's all also partly answered by you, I think. You can answer it as well, because I think it starts all there. You have to kind of see like how big is the demand for that offer you have. Although it's premium, although it's very special, at a certain point it might be so special that it's not something that people actually search for. So you need to understand like what is the entry point for my product, and if I place it in the simulated marketplace with Intellivy, then of course you can learn, will it drive a click or not? Or will it give me conversion or not? We can help you with that. But you have
Right.
to understand, again, what are your competitors, where to start.
Right. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do is to get rid of this brand name, Hydro Flask, right? Look at how good of a job Hydro Flask has done at marketing their brand name across different platforms and different retail shops, different, whether it's D2C to their own website, whether it's because they're sold in Walmart, Target, or wherever, or it's a TikTok thing, or whatever it is, people are coming to Amazon and searching for Hydro Flask.
Yeah.
So just their brand name in 2 words, 162 keywords with almost 1 million search volume.
Yeah.
And I've removed that. Hydro Flask together, 148, an additional 600,000. So you're talking about over 1.5 million, almost 1.6 million search volume just from these two. And this is monthly for their brand name. So now that's a major thing that we need to call out, is this is where the combination of keyword data and polling really comes together, because no matter how good your polling is and how much you are meeting the demand of the buyer, you are not going to be able to compete with Hydro Flask if you don't have that outside search volume and the brand awareness and the people searching for your brand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now, the story would not make sense if we were looking at the 1.4 million search volume on this key, like here. So if I search here, we've got coffee mug, but look at these high search volume keywords and then how Hydro Flask is not even ranked for them. So if I were running Hydro Flask's account, I know immediately I could increase their sales. Do you think that they care that because they're doing 600,000, 700, 800,000, 700,000. These as an aggregate, they're doing millions and millions of dollars a month on Amazon.
Yeah.
But yet Yeti with a major name brand is doing 1.1. Is Yeti more popular than, or is that style more popular? So the reality is I can spend an hour really tearing this niche apart to understand where the demand really lies and what the upside is for Hydro Flask. Yeti has 2.7 million search volume I just removed from the master keyword list. So they've got 33,000 sales a month versus 33 versus 24 versus 21. And it goes down here. If we have a
And just a question
non-Hydro
from me,
Flask,
because now I see that you did a niche dive. So now you have a huge list of Hydro Flasks. But if I'm just looking on Amazon, I'm doing an insulated coffee mug with lid, for instance. I see so many more options. So I see also Swig Life, Meoki, Mabrudi, whatever, like many brands and stuff.
right? So I know Simple Modern. The owner of Simple Modern is a great follow on Twitter. They're sold in Target, and you've got 25 keywords with 500,000. So we're talking about 500,000 searches a month, over 2.5 million searches a month for this brand, over 1.6 million searches a month for this brand. You know, and then if you come down, we do have Contigo, Alufa. You know, we have a couple other competitors. If I wanted to add somebody else in, so you said you want me to add another competitor. Here's Simple Modern. How about Sunwill?
Yeah,
So
Sunwheel.
let
Yeah.
me add Sunwill. So what I'll do is I'll go to Sunwill. I'm going to grab their ASIN. And what I'll do is I can add them here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it'll pull them in,
Mm-hmm.
and I can add as many as I want. So like we can have 40, 50 competitors in our niche when we really compare it. I brought in a bunch of Hydro Flasks and styles and a bunch, you know, I'm willing to do other brands because I wanted to see what other ways people are searching. But the problem with that is that we just saw that Hydro Flask was not ranked as well for some of these generic keywords. It looks like they're doing okay here. So if we look here, this one's not, but these are doing a little bit better. So for coffee mug, why this one just isn't a coffee mug? It's just not relevant for it. So they haven't targeted the coffee crowd.
Hey, but Brandon, what I'm thinking is because we did set 30 minutes and we
Yeah.
have to respect the time. What I see now already, and we knew this, that this is definitely something that can have a follow-up. We have to do more
Yeah.
about these things because now we get to kind of like an overview of coffee mugs. We need to get to a certain point, like, okay, what is the entry point that's best for me? Then go to a specific test, simulate the marketplace, and see what you can do to get the best product out there, because that's the
Perfect.
whole point.
Yeah, we do need to go deeper into this and
Exactly.
kind of do a cross section. The last thing I want to point out is that if we're looking at the thousands of keywords that we have here on all of these lists and millions and millions and millions of search volume, this is where you would search the entire keyword cloud. This search only searches the master keyword list. But if I search here and I want to know how many keywords across the entire cloud have 16 in it, we have 18 keywords in the outliers. So this is telling me coffee thermos 16 ounce, coffee tumbler 16 ounce, 16 ounce. So what I'm seeing is we've got a lot of keywords here that have a specific size. Now, we can use that aggregate demand once we go into these keywords and we can say, okay, how popular is 16? For toys, a more simple example of this would be that, and again, Stanley coffee cup, 16 ounce coffee tumbler, specific size. And what about a 24 ounce? Another common size for Americans. 136 keywords, 32 keywords in the outliers. And so I don't know why it's not sorting it. There it is. Coffee thermos,
Yeah.
24
There you have it.
ounce, right? So
Yeah.
another simple example of this would be for toys, that once I understand what all these variations and what the demand of those variations are from the keyword cloud, now I know how to prioritize my variations so that I can do that advanced strategy where I'm bringing in traffic. So from a toy perspective, I might say, okay, how popular is the mermaid design? How popular is the unicorn design? How popular would a turtle design or a dolphin design be? And if I find that there's 6 or 8 or 12 searches, keywords with dolphin in it as an aggregate of even 800 or a couple thousand
Mm.
searches a month, that's going to be enough for me to want to add a dolphin variation to my listing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Well, we're going to talk about much more about this. I always love this, and it's very good. To end up, everybody who watched this today, we have a special offer for you, so you can use Data Dive 30 days for free and 20% coupon for
We're giving it away
Intellivy.
for free.
Yeah, that's what you said. So
How did you convince my
I don't
team to do
know.
that?
Well, it's free use, so maybe I said it wrong. Then you have to correct me. Well, then
No,
I
no,
will.
it's okay. You already said it.
Yeah, well, it seems to be. So that's what I read in the preparation to everything. But we will share it with you via email. So thanks for joining us today. Looking forward to see you in the next one. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Peter Paul,
Brandon.
great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.